In this video, we're going to introduce the iNet user privilege group and account for role-based access control and logging. Please note that the contents we present in this video are based on iNet version 4.28 for your reference, which may or may not fully match the versions you are using and are subject to change. The iNet privilege groups consist of resources groups and function groups. A resources group grants resource privileges that control the management of network resources, like NEs and subnets, to users under the group. For example, here we have three resources groups, All Resources Group, Subnet North, and Subnet South, with different resource privileges. The All Resources Group is assigned all network resources in the iNet system. Therefore, user 1 under this group has privileges to manage all network resources, including Subnet North, Subnet South, NE-N1, NE-N2, and NE-S1. The Subnet North is assigned Subnet North, NE-N1, and NE-N2, so user North under this group is only able to manage Subnet North, NE-N1, and NE-N2. Finally, the Subnet South is assigned Subnet South and NE-S1, so user South under this group is only able to manage Subnet South and NE-S1. A function group grants functional privileges such as read-write access to functions like view, alarm and event, resources, etc. to users under the group. For example, if a function group is assigned access to functions of resources inventory, area, and station, then users under this group would only have access to these functions. Note that every user should be assigned to a resources group and a function group respectively. We will further mention this in Chapter 2.1 later. The iNet system provides one built-in resources group and 5 different built-in function groups. For the resources group, we have a built-in group named All Resources Group, which is assigned all network resources in the iNet system by default and is adjustable. As for the function groups, we have Viewer, Operator, Operator Editor, Supervisor, and System Admin with different functional privileges. The privileges of the System Admin group are non-adjustable, but for the other 4 groups, you may adjust the privileges based on your needs. We will talk about this in Chapter 1.3 later. To learn about the default privileges of each group, please refer to iNet Installation, Startup and Maintenance Guide, Chapter 9.1.1, Adding a New Group. As mentioned earlier, except for the System Admin function group, you may adjust the privileges of the built-in groups. To adjust the privileges, please first log into the iNet system using an admin account or any other user account with the access to functions of Security, User Manager, Group, Edit Group. Then, go to the User Manager interface by clicking iNet Start, Security, User Manager on the bottom left corner. On the User Manager interface, you will see 2 tabs, User and Group. Please go to the Group tab. Select a group and then click the Privilege button on the toolbar or right-click on the mouse and click Privilege on the pop-up menu. Adjust the privileges and then click OK to save the changes. Generally, the built-in groups should suffice for users. But if you would like to create or copy a privilege group, please click the Add button on the toolbar or right-click on the mouse and click Add Group on the pop-up menu. To create an iNet user account with password authentication, please switch to the User tab and click the Add button on the toolbar or right-click on the mouse and click Add User on the pop-up menu. Please complete the mandatory fields for the new user account. The default password is lowercase a 12345. You can choose to leave it unchanged or set up a new password. As mentioned previously in Chapter 1.1, Please be sure to assign a function group and a resources group respectively to this user account. Once completed, please click OK, and you will then see the newly added user account on the list. Sign out of the iNet system by clicking Logout on the menu. On the iNet login page, you will then be able to log into the iNet using the user account you have just created. In this section, we're going to brief about some advanced user account settings. For more details, please refer to the manuals listed on screen. Number 1. Authentication. Here you may select third-party authentication via the Radius protocol for account authentication method. Number 2. iNet account password policy. Here you may enable or disable the setting of password must be changed, as well as set the password complexity and minimum password age. Number 3. Account logout policy. Here you may set the account logout threshold and repeat login policy, as well as enable or disable the setting of reset account logout. If it is enabled, you may then further set the reset account logout counter. Number 4. Auto logout. When creating a user account, you may take the option of Enable Auto Logout so that the iNet will automatically log off idle users. Number 5. Binding IP. When creating a user account, you may enter IP addresses to restrict the user logging into the iNet system only at the addresses listed here.